Welcome back, everybody, to another powerful episode of the Rich Life Training Series. I'm your host, Dominic Caminata, CEO of Grosso University, the industry-leading training and consulting group for top performers just like yourself. Again, none of this is designed to be average. We want you to live optimally, and not just pertaining to health, but also your financial pillar of strength. Of course, we're back here in the studio with my mentor and friend, Dr. InJun Chong, who, as you know, is the CEO of Reveal Wellness and the creator of this Rich Life program. Of course, we're going to kick this thing off talking about the I in the rich life, which is income. And we live in a world today where income is an important pillar of strength. So having your financial pillar of strength is absolutely essential to really survive and ultimately thrive in our modern world. And to begin this topic of income, I want to ask a question that all of you really need to figure out is, how much money do I need to achieve my goals? One thing I can guarantee you is if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there, and it's often the road that leads to nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. So Rick Grosso always talked about this when it pertained to setting goals. Like, you could be the best sharpshooter in the history of humanity. You could be the best sniper in the world. But let's say you're blindfolded and you have no clue where your target is, you're never going to hit it. Mm-hmm. So the first step to making a lot of money is getting crystal clear on what your target needs to be. And we're going to talk about some ways we can do that and ultimately break that target down into bite-sized pieces. How do you eat an elephant? A bite at a time. For example, let's say that your goal is to make $500,000 a year. That'd be a big, hairy, audacious goal, right? This would mean that you would only need to make $1,369 per day. Does that seem like such a big number to anyone anymore, or does that seem more realistic? Now, how many hours are in a day? 24. So that would mean that I would take 1,369 divided by 24, which would be $57 per hour. Let me ask you, doctor, are you worth $57 an hour?
All day, every day.
Heck yeah. So the first most important sale we all need to make is selling ourselves to ourselves. We're going to talk about this a lot more in the income training modules here. But let me ask you another question. How many minutes are in a day?
86, well, that's seconds, 86,400.
There's 1,414 something. There's like over 1,400 minutes in a day, okay? That would mean that to make $500,000 a year, doctor, you'd only have to make 95 cents per minute. Does that seem out of touch right now?
Every minute, every day.
Every minute. But this is an example of taking this mountain of a goal. And I talk about this often when I'm doing my trainings. Let's say your goal is to climb Mount Everest. That's a mountain of a goal, literally, right? Can I just show up to Mount Everest and start climbing? How's that going to work? It's not going to work. Now, how do I climb Mount Everest? So I have the goal of climbing Mount Everest. Now I need to break that goal down step by step, map out every step along the journey, how I'm going to get to the peak or the summit, what I'm going to need to take with me for my gear, what type of training and physical development and conditions, being able to acclimate to high altitudes and thinner air, all this stuff, right?
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
So I need to map out every step of the journey, break it down in bite-sized pieces so I don't get halfway up the mountain and get stuck and end up being one of those people that froze on the side of Mount Everest, right? So that's the way every goal is. So let's say your goal is money. You got to have a target. Okay, what's the target? Let's put it at the top of Mount Everest, $500,000 a year. Now I need to break out every step of that journey, exactly how I'm going to get there. So I venture to guess, I'm sure you'd agree, you go up to the average person, you say, exactly how much money do you need to make to achieve your goals? They couldn't give you a number. So the first step to achieving your income, your financial pillar of strength, is getting truly crystal clear. And I heard someone describe it as being Pablo Picasso clear as to what that number is. Break it down into bite-sized pieces and make any goal seem very attainable, right? So I need to give myself a deadline also when I'm achieving any goal. Any goal without a deadline is like smoke in the wind. So I want to talk about the Grosso University definition of success real quick and how this pertains to what we're talking about here. And this is something I got from my mentor, Rick Grosso. So Rick always says that you are successful when you have a definite, worthwhile written goal with a precise date and you're presently moving towards it. Now, you notice the definition of success doesn't say I achieved the goal. What it says is I'm presently moving towards it, right? So what is your definite, worthwhile written goal when it comes to income? What is the deadline? What is the precise date? And what can I do every single day, step by step, to move towards it, to work towards achieving that goal? As long as I'm moving in the direction towards achieving that goal, guess what? You are in fact successful. So let's just kind of kick this thing off. So why, just kicking this out, why is the I, income, a foundational pillar of the Rich Life program as a whole, just in general? Like, you could have picked any different acronym that there is, right? We got relationships, we got contribution, health, but then income. Why is the I, income, why is that so essential to living a rich life?
The income portion is so important with the I because the fact that when you have income, you are allowed to then influence and then can inspire. And that's really giving back full circle. That's the purpose of all this stuff. As humans, that is what we're designed to do. And to have this more of a, when you come into life and you leave this world, making that influence and leave that footprint. And give them the opportunity. When you have the income, now you have the opportunity to influence and inspire people. And that's not just because of a number, it's because you're showing that you were able to follow through with that goal to the success. Now you become an inspiration for other people to do the same thing. Just like we talked before, where people have that running goal, the 4-minute mile. The more you can do those type of things and show you can do it, other people thought, they can do it, I can do it too. And now we start to gradually build that, and we change that set point even more. Right, so we're seeing people now, millionaires are everywhere. It's not a big thing, but growing up, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a really crazy set of different class of people. You and I have met very many millionaires at this point in their career, right? So we're saying that's not unrealistic, that's attainable. And because those people are able to do that and have that ability, they are inspirational because they're able to influence us internally saying, I can do that too.
Yeah, and that's a quick hack to become very successful in life and make a lot of money. Is surround yourself with those that are multimillionaires, that are very successful, and pick their brains, right? Because the cool thing about success is you can model the choices, decisions, and success of other people to fast track your success. So you don't want to think of like my pathway to making a lot of money is just me making shitloads of mistakes, all this trial and error, and not having any roadmap to follow. Like the cool thing is, like Dr. InJun just alluded to, there's millionaires all around us. And from my personal experience, I mean, some of them are kind of arrogant pricks, like don't get me wrong, but many of them are very selfless and very giving, and they love being mentors to others. So if I could give you any advice to fast track your success in life and become very successful financially, have that income be absolutely off the charts, start getting mentors, start surrounding yourself with wealthy individuals, and ultimately surrounding yourself with those people that have already achieved what it is that you're trying to achieve for yourself. If you try to do it alone, I'm not saying you can never get there, because I believe human beings can do anything they make up their mind to, but you'll get there way faster and a lot easier if you start surrounding yourself with these highly successful individuals, networking, getting mentors. I promise you, every successful person I've ever met has had a mentor, and those mentors have had mentors. And it really never ends. None of these people got there on their own. They like to claim that they did it on their own, but I guarantee they had some mentors. And mentors could be people you know personally. They could also be people that you read about. So think of one person in your life that you admire. Think of one person that is financially well off, that you picture in your mind, like, I would like the life that that person has. How much research have you done on that person's journey? We always see the end result, but we never do the research on how they got there. And again, I'm not a huge Grant Cardone, fan or customer. I just attended a 10X event. But one thing I give him a lot of credit for is he said that he picked people in the world that were wildly successful, the billionaires, the most successful people you could find. And he spent hundreds of hours, not just researching who they are, but how they got there. Just simply researching, okay, from the very beginning, when they graduated from high school and went to college or got their degrees or got into business or got into real estate, and the failures and how they overcame that, like really laser focus on every single step along the way, how they got to where they are. And that's a simple hack. That's a way for you to fast track. So you're not having to learn through cost prohibitive trial and error. It's no different than Grosso University. The reason why our company exists is because we've actually had the real world experience building top, most profitable organizations in the country. So instead of people just winging it, shooting from the hip, trying to figure it out as they go, they can come to us and they can learn what's the proven roadmap, because you've already been there, you've already done it. How can I invest in your wisdom? How can I have you as my mentor so you can fast track my growth and development? And that's the same way life is, whether you're a salesperson, a business owner, a leader. You definitely need mentors that can show you the way.
That's really why this Rich Life was formed, because like I was saying before, there's a lot of people that are very financially, have a great deal of income, but they're not the best people that you want to stay around as far as integrity-wise, character-wise. So you can take from all these different categories and find people that are doing really well in those things. So I meet older couples oftentimes that have had these marriages for 60 years. I say, what's the secret? And tell me the secret, because that's helping with the R side. But maybe not so well, maybe they don't do so well on the income side. So I don't have that conversation with them about that. So find different people in life that in these different levels and using this R.I.C.H as a filter to get to really that definition of what it really truly means to be rich. Because one of those components is off, it's like that four-legged stool. So that's really the importance of saying, this lane, it feeds into all the other ones, but at the end of the day, when you have more income and you're a piece of shit person, you're gonna be a bigger piece of shit person. You're gonna be lacking someplace else, you're really not truly rich. And that's really the whole purpose of this program, is I grew up around a lot of these things where there's deficiencies in these different categories that didn't truly, when I figured it out, when I thought that they were rich, and I saw these things saying what my definition of rich was, I'm like, whoa, this is incongruent. This is really not rich. I'd never want to trade my life for this.
Yep.
So looking at these different components and breaking them down and putting through this filtration process, all these different key components we're sharing with you, and you making up your mind of what areas you feel like you need some support in, or areas you're already doing well with, and then you come together, and now you are at that point where you are living a rich life. It's sustainable and fulfilling.
Yeah. It's got to be congruent with your core values and your integrity as well, right? So money is obviously great, it helps, but if you have to violate your integrity and become somebody that you're not and violate your core values as a human being, that's not worth it, right? And that's where a lot of people live very financially strong but unfulfilling lives, because they really hate the person looking back at them in the mirror in terms of how they got there. So figure out, again, in terms of who I am and my core values and who I want to be, like who can I model myself after in order to achieve my goals much faster.
Are you ready to take control of your health and start living a rich life? Then it's time for us to talk. I'm Dr. InJun Chong, CEO and the founder of Reveal Wellness. It's been my life's dedication helping sales warriors, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and high achievers just like you optimize their performance in their personal and professional lives. If you're feeling stuck and burned out and you're ready to reignite your vitality, click the link in the description and connect with me directly. Because above anything else, you deserve to live a rich life, and I can help you get there. I'm looking forward to meeting with you, and back to the video.
So kind of going back to the beginning of this training course, where like the importance of having a precise target. So why do you feel, whether it's a fitness goal, a health and wellness goal, a financial goal, income, it's so important to have an actual target to aim for versus just wishing for things to happen?
Clarity. If you don't have a clear vision, you don't know how to then monitor if you're going in the right direction. Kind of like when we talked about in the past about an airplane, it has a destination. It may course correct along the way, but it knows that's the destination. So if you don't have that in sight or in mind, you're going to just wave and wane, and you're going to just continue flying through where you're going to get to success. It's not going to work.
Absolutely. So now, of course, being laser focused on that goal. And I'll give him a plug here. I'm actually good friends with a guy named Sean Foyer. He actually calls himself the Universal Mindset Disruptor, and I fully support what he's doing. But one thing he talks about is a lot of times you just got to get clear and definite on what it is that you want. Establish your target, but don't be so concerned day one about the how. But it is important that you do set your eyes on a definite target. Figure out what it is that you want, and then make that a part of your daily mantra, your affirmations. Repeat that stuff over and over and over again. And this is why I love the Muhammad Ali quote. He talks about, the repetition of affirmations lead to belief, and when that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. That's essentially what's going to happen. Once I have that definite target, I stay laser focused on achieving that goal. Not saying that I hope to or I wish to, no, saying I am that person. I am a multimillionaire. I am a $3 million producer in sales. I am. And really direct all of your affirmations and your self-talk and your beliefs and that deep conviction on that target. I promise you it will happen. We can't say when or how, and that's the beautiful part about it. We don't know when or how. but just know that it will happen. It will become your reality. But you got to make a decision. I promise you, if you have no definite goal and you just have this arbitrary thing that you tell yourself, like, I just want to be successful someday and make a lot of money. That's not definite enough. You got to get crystal clear and laser focused on what your income goal is, and then slowly but surely break that thing down, but just keep repeating that to yourself, that number. So if it's your goal to make $500,000 a year, say, I am a $500,000 income producer, or I'm so happy I made $500,000 this year. So whatever it is, walking, talking, acting, and behaving as if you already are that person, and you'd be amazed at the things that start coming together in your life to start making that a reality.
Yeah, your brain doesn't know the difference between something you vividly imagine or something that's actually happening. So when you start to live that and smell it, taste it, feel it, breathe it, just like the law of attraction, that's really what it's saying, is like identifying yourself. That is your new identity, and you see yourself as that character. So think about it and just play with it almost like it's just fantasy, right? But just embrace it and be open to that. And when you do that, let everything else unfold on its own. The brain will do it for you. But you have to first have that visualization, that identity, creating that identity of what that looks like for you. And the way that I've anchored this down to add on top of it is, what is the why behind it? When that why is strong enough, that's your support system. When you start to question, you start to challenge yourself, of feeling like I'm an imposter, this is bullshit, and not believing it, that's where you get the hiccup. That's where you get the issues that come into play. But if you have that strong why behind it, then it will continue to support you that it is true, that it can be true, and it will be true.
That's why I love people creating vision boards, because it helps them get a little bit more clarity on why they're doing what they're doing and what the end result is. Because money, unfortunately, is an important pillar of strength that we all need. Income is important, but it's not the money ultimately that we're striving for. It's what that money can do for you. Like you were talking about the why. Like, okay, why? Like, what exact lifestyle is that going to provide you and your family, or how many people can you help when you get to that level of income? I actually had this conversation with my mother, and I love my mom to death, but she also has some self-limiting beliefs. And again, she's just like everybody. I mean, we all have self-limiting beliefs. But she's like, Dominic, because she sees me getting after it, like going out and taking on the world, and I'm just constantly plowing forward, trying to continue to level up. And she's like, Dominic, when's enough? Like, when would you have gotten to the point financially where you can just relax? I'm like, Mom, it's not just about me. Like, there's a lot of people I would love to be able to help along the way. If it was only about me, then I could just be comfortable and relaxed, but it's not about me. It's about leaving a legacy, having legacy wealth for my family, but also how many other people can I impact and help along the way. So I see a lot of people struggling in the world, and I would love to be able to make a difference. And this all requires money. So unfortunately, this is something we were all born into. This isn't your choice. This wasn't my choice. But we were born into a world of fiat currency where in order to acquire things or make a difference, money is required. It just is what it is. So knowing that money is essential as breathing nowadays, how can I get as much of it as possible so I can live my life, but also help enough other people along the way?
Yeah, it leads to an opportunity to influence, like I said earlier. Influence and you inspire. And that's the purpose over here, is being that selfless person. And like all the time we hear the phrase that if you help enough other people get what they want, you eventually get what you want.
Yep.
And if that driving fact behind the why is a noble thing, you'll be compensated for that.
Yep.
And that's really what it comes down to. And you know, me, when I'm doing chiropractic, I deliver a chiropractic adjustment, there'd be a fee for that, and the patient's like, well, it took you a minute or two. I'm like, but it took me so much investment to be able to learn that technique, to be able to deliver that service to you, to be compensated for that.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people have that issue sometimes where they get stuck and they lose that self-worth, they lose that worthiness, and they start to challenge their worth, and then that's where they get stuck financially. So they cannot seize other financial goals as being attainable because they have that mindset that limits them of what they feel they're deserving of. And you have to really rewrite that story of saying, what, and if you're not congruent with it, then that's fair enough to say that, you're maybe cheating it. But in a sense, if you really truly are going out to serve people and you're becoming their advisor to help them with whatever problem they have and you're the solution to that, you should be compensated for that. Yeah. And be okay with that and embrace that.
Yeah, so having a financial pillar of strength is absolutely vital. Obviously, as Dr. InJun alluded to, money does not make you happy. It won't. I know a lot of miserable people that are multi-gazillionaires. However, with the right person, with the right intentions, making money the right way, it can amplify who you are in ways you can't even imagine, allow you to help a lot of people along the way. And of course, one thing we don't want to worry about is financial stress, because it's still nowadays is the number one reason why people get divorced, why they separate, why they fight, is financial struggles. But if you want to break through this never-ending cycle of insanity when it comes to income, so there are trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars out there. Trillions of dollars. There's not a scarcity of money. There's so much money out there it'd make your head spin. So you just got to think to yourself, okay, there's, I think, hundreds of trillions of dollars in currency right now. All right. That's enough for everybody in the world to live a rich life financially, but how do I get my fair share based on what I'm contributing to the world? What value can I bring to others, like he was saying? What other people can I help along the way to get what I want by giving them what they want, right? And you can have both. You can do what you love and call it work. You can make a lot of money doing something you love. And this is why, like for me, sales was so great, because I absolutely love going in and helping people solve a problem. Some people think of sales as high pressure. I think of it as high service. You can really help improve other people's lives by solving problems. And you can live high integrity, honesty. You can sleep like a baby at night. And you can live a life of financial freedom and independence. But most people have a tendency to sell themselves short. So the first most important sale we have to make is selling ourselves to ourselves. And we got to get clear about what that income goal is and stretch yourself. You're twice as good as you think you are, and that's only half the truth, especially when it comes to income. So I just want to talk about this last thing. So I did a career fair for a high school not too long ago, because one thing that bothers me is that the home improvement industry is not promoted enough in high school. I didn't know about the home improvement industry and the abundance that was available until I graduated from college, and I stumbled upon it by accident. And I venture to guess that most people watching this that are in the home improvement industry found this industry by accident, right? It wasn't part of our life plan when we were kids. You know, we want to be a firefighter or an astronaut or whatever. We don't think about, I want to be in the home improvement industry. But then when you get here, you realize like, wow, this is an amazing place to be. It's full of abundance and opportunity. But I was doing a high school career fair, and I had a booth set up, and I was promoting the profession of outside sales in this industry. And I had all these high school kids coming up to my booth, and they were very intrigued by what I was presenting. And I asked every single kid that came to my booth, which was almost every kid in the school. I asked them, when they graduate, what's their income goal? What is their income goal when they graduate? Now I want you to think about how expensive it is to live nowadays, okay? And I didn't have one kid say over $60,000 a year. So what are they conditioned to believe in school is a healthy income level? They want people literally suffering and struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, working for the man, not starting their own business and being successful and living a life of abundance and all this stuff, or going into a profession in sales where you can go through 2 weeks of education instead of 8 years trying to become a doctor and make doctor level income. They don't want you to know that stuff. We want you to settle for scarcity mentality, mediocrity, poverty as just a reality of life. And we wonder why so many people are struggling nowadays, right? So we got to break through this scarcity mindset though. And we got to raise the bar on what we think is possible. I firmly believe, and there's people doing it, that in outside sales in the home improvement industry, it's possible to make over $1 million a year. That's $2,700 a day. So ask yourself, can you make $2,700 a day in commission right now? The answer is yes, you can. So how can I stretch myself, set a big, hairy, audacious goal like that? And then if for any reason I fall short of that, well, I'm only making $500,000. Well, I can still survive on $500,000. I'm doing okay. So you need to establish goals for your income that would terrify the average person, because most people are scared to death to make money. They're scared to death because that's how we're brainwashed and conditioned our whole life. But the first step to achieving a high income in your life is you got to get definite on what your target is, what your goal is. Then once you have that big goal, now let's break that thing down into bite-sized pieces, because that's how you eat an elephant, a bite at a time. If I just look at the elephant, I'm like, I can't eat all that. Well, over time, you can chip away at it, right? Little portions at a time. Not that you're going to go out and eat elephants, so don't think that. But I just want to let everybody know that you can achieve your financial goals. You are in an industry of abundance. The home improvement industry, as we're filming this right now, is about a $600 billion industry annually. If you include home services, it's over $1 trillion a year. You know how much money $1 trillion is? That's plenty of money for everyone to live a rich life. I can promise you that. But you gotta first make up your mind what you're worth, establish clear targets, and then break those targets down to bite-sized pieces. If you don't do that, you're always gonna go onto the road that leads to nowhere. And you're gonna constantly struggle, and you're gonna be, well, why can't I achieve my income goals? And it's all about making up your mind what you're worth. What's interesting about sales especially, you can take a salesperson that is used to making $150,000 a year, and they value themselves at $150,000 a year, you can put them in almost any sales job. Guess how much they'll make? $150,000 a year. However, if someone only values themselves at $80,000 a year, you can put them in any sales job. Even if the opportunity is $500,000 a year, they'll still only make $80,000 a year. So you got to make up your mind what you're worth. And a lot of that has to do with self-image and stuff. We can talk about more of that in later videos. But establish a target. Figure out, what is the target? What do I need to make every single year to achieve my vision, my why for my future? And then reverse engineer that thing. Break it down day by day, week by week, month by month. And then never give up on it. And don't get discouraged if you don't hit it right away, but just continue like a heat-seeking missile, taking that imperfect action one step at a time. And you'd be pleasantly surprised how quickly you will that into reality.
Good visual for you. Look at it as a thermostat set. So change that. Because maybe sometimes you're a little bit lower, sometimes you're a little higher. You're going to get that level, like you said. Like those earners, they had themselves identified as a certain level of income, earning. Change that. Just bump it up a little bit and challenge yourself. But on top of that, then support that with why you want to do it. Who do you want to help? And it could be just to help yourself, but who do you want to help? And that will help force you to go in that direction, fuel that, to get to that set point and sustain that set point. Then you start to bump it up each time. That's going to be the best way to do this. A simple solution for you is just focus on the why of why you want to do it, and then visualize that set point. Visualize that number. Just listen to numbers, you guys. It's not that we put the value to the numbers, right? So if you just change that number, just look at it as a number, right? And then set that number to a higher point, and then think about why you want to get to the higher point to support that.
Yep, absolutely. Repeat that to yourself over and over again. It'll become a deep conviction. I promise you, things will start happening that'll take you to a whole different level of financial strength, because financial strength is essential in our modern world. So I just want to thank everybody for being with us on this income module in the Rich Life Training Series. We hope this sparked a shift in how you think about income, your value, and your potential. Just remember, above everything else, you truly do deserve a rich life. And from all of us here at Grosso University and Dr. InJun Chong, yes, you are a closer.